It's not good enough. It really isn't good enough. That's not acceptable. Can't cut them slack. You can't. Not when the food is this bad, and it is disgracefully bad. Onion barge is shocking. Lamb chops, shocking. I won't even talk about the naan. And that is fact, I'm not eating it. In my opinion, it's the biggest scam restaurant here in London. The worst I've ever had.
Gary Eats, the man, the myth, the legend, has reviewed over 350 different restaurants on his channel, and though some have been below par, there's one restaurant that stands out above, or should I say below the rest. In this video, Gary has titled the UK's biggest scam restaurant. Not only is he so appalled by the food that he actually confronts the waiter.
That's not acceptable. You look at the online reviews and you think, oh come on, it's an independent business and, you know, cut them some slack, but you can't cut them slack. You can't. Not when the food is this bad, and it is disgracefully bad. Hey there. I just want to bring that back in here.
What's that?
That naan. Just take a look. Take a look at that naan. They've sent it over. Look at the state of that on that side.
I give you.
No, I don't want. Honestly, I don't want another one. But I'm just pointing out to you.
Nice.
But he also commented under the video saying that he got food poisoning. The restaurant serving Indian cuisine had to be rebranded and renamed because the establishment's terrible reviews literally negatively impacted their business. But even with the rebrand, the poor business practices still apparently remain the same. And it's not just Gary who's had negative things to say about this particular restaurant.
It's not good. It's greasy. It's soggy. I don't know if I want to take a bite out of that side.
Gary himself got the idea from another YouTuber called Greeno Eats.
My good friend Greeno came here about a year and a half ago. He'd done a review, he got overcharged as well. The food wasn't very good, and I'm kind of like hoping that it really has improved. But looking at the reviews, I'm not so sure.
And this is what Greeno had to say about it.
That's not good. I'm sorry folks, I don't like to waste food. But I mean, you can see, that is just horrible, greasy, and unpleasant. Like there's sand in it or something.
And even more recently, a huge YouTuber named Harrison Webb showcased a restaurant in his video titled "I Tried the Worst Curries in London," and he said this about it.
The onion bhaji is most definitely the worst onion bhaji I've ever had in my life. Poppadoms were burnt to a crisp. Not looking promising for the curry, must say.
Yeah, I wouldn't rush to come, guys. Flavour's good, but yeah, the bread is abysmal as well. Right, that was Delhi Spice Tandoori. I think it was probably the worst Indian restaurant I've ever been to.
But not only is the food allegedly subpar, customers on multiple occasions have also reportedly been mischarged for certain items allegedly. Gary and Greeno both found their bills didn't add up to the price on the menu.
And he stopped selling me and made himself an extra £2. I can't really argue about it yet. Is that good salesman or is that ripping you off? I suppose it's a bit of both, isn't it?
You add all of that up together, you come to a total of £35.75. Here is the receipt I have. That says £36.75, not £35.75.
So despite the negative reviews and despite the added mystery charges and despite Gary's food poisoning, I thought I'd try this place for myself to see if it's really as bad as they say. So I headed out onto the Elizabeth line to Paddington, which is where this restaurant is located, and luckily it's only a few minutes walk from the station, but despite the glorious weather I was extremely anxious. As I walked closer and closer, I started to recognise a few of the filming locations from the videos I'd seen and showcased, and then finally saw it. It took me a few minutes to actually go in there. I had to get my order ready in my head, and decided to just go for pretty much exactly what Gary ordered in his video. I got the onion bhajis, naan bread, chicken jalfrezi and lamb chops. I chose not to record too much in the restaurant because I was wary of the owners catching on to people like me trying this restaurant out of curiosity and didn't want any potential problems with the order. I then waited 20 minutes, took my food away and headed towards the same spot where Gary ate his food. I sat down and unloaded the food from my bag, but it was at this point that I realised there was a big problem. The containers holding the food had already started to leak out and stain everything. So in this spot I just decided to try the naan bread, which I will say does look like an improvement from what I'd seen in the other videos.
However, I need to show you that. I mean, I don't know if that's mould. I don't know if it's what it is. But what it is definitely not doing is going in my tummy.
Which I'm going to say has not been freshly baked in a tandoor. Look at the back of this. Look how wet and soggy that is.
And honestly, it wasn't bad at all. I give the naan a 3.8 out of 5. But it was at this point I decided I would take my food away with me back home. I don't live far from Paddington and the food would still be fresh when I got home, which it was. So I unpacked my food at the dining table, starting with the onion bhajis, which were absolutely appalling. As you could probably tell, onion bhajis are supposed to be fried. In Hindi it literally translates to fried vegetables, which would imply that it should be crispy.
Cheers.
And I can say with all honesty that there was absolutely no crisp to these at all. I've probably had soups that were crispier than these onion bhajis. They were absolutely terrible. They just seem really old and as if they've been microwaved over and over again until it just became a huge congealed mess. 1 out of 5. So I put those back without a second thought, poured my jalfrezi and decided to unpack and try the lamb chops. Now before I give my honest opinion on these lamb chops, take a look at Gary's lamb chops. And now have a look at these bad boys. I'm pretty sure they're the same item and there's only one lamb chops option on the menu I've found. And oh boy, when biting into these, there was no intensely smoky, tangy or savoury flavour like you'd expect. I instead was greeted by a rubbery textured disaster. Again, it tasted like it'd been microwaved and pulled from a fridge after sitting for a few days. It was the strangest taste I think I've ever experienced from an Indian restaurant, and I'm not saying that in a good way. 1 out of 5 for the chops. So lastly, with my expectations at an all-time low, I finally tried the main course, the chicken jalfrezi, which apparently is their signature dish, and honestly, it wasn't terrible. It had all the bells and whistles you'd expect from a jalfrezi, and the chicken was slightly chewy, the sauce was too oily, but overall it was average, which at this point is a miracle. So I'd give the jalfrezi a 3.5 out of 5. So finally, after trying a lot more of the jalfrezi than I thought I would, it's time to look at the bill and see if I was overcharged like the others. So like I said, I ordered the onion bhajis, £3.95, the plain naan bread, £2.95, pilau rice, £3.95, chicken jalfrezi, £11.95, and the lamb chops, which were £7.95. These prices come from their TripAdvisor menu and adds up to £30.75. My bill, however, came to a grand total of £34.75, meaning they overcharged me 4 whole Great British pounds. So these ominous business practices apparently haven't changed. Notice as well how small these receipts are, and how contrary to normal receipts there's no items listed, just the price. It's as if they want the price to be as small as possible so it stops you from spotting how you've mispaid a bunch of money, but hey, that's just a theory. Yeah, it's not good, but not as bad as I was expecting, but not far off. But one upside is that I didn't get food poisoning. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Please subscribe if you're new around here and check out the other videos on my channel here. This is my first video, but hopefully when you're watching this there's more. Goodbye.